Hey guys, and welcome back to another Broken No Game video. Today's video is going to be about the metal exchange shop, specifically the Metal of Desires and Mimidae's compiled notes. So let's get to the compiled notes first, but before we do that, thank you so much for the 1K subs. I couldn't have done it without all of you. This was a we. This is a we. This YouTube channel is a we. So thank you to everyone who's been supporting me. Thank you who has been supporting the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and that is how you will be entered into the giveaways. You know, it'll be a $25 Google Play gift card, this, that, and the third. We'll do more details as we get there. But anyways, let's get to this video. So, Mimidae's compiled notes is a fantastic thing. Here's a Japanese wiki. It's really long, kind of slightly convoluted, difficult to read, yeah. There's a bunch of stuff in here, damage calculations. Shoutouts to Tachi for releasing a video on buff debuffing. You know, it is a fantastic video. You should definitely check it out if you're a numbers guy. I myself am not that big on the numbers, but I still watched it and I found it very interesting. And he even gave you a calculator to make it even easier. So feel free to check that out. So Mimidae's compiled notes actually shows you like a bunch of things. Like, for example, what are the permanent stats that actually get added into your character to develop your points? How do you increase your stats for weapon grids? Like, what's recommended? You know, what does each thing mean? What does it do? Like, for example, like, you know, the skills, the weapon level skills, and we'll talk about that in my bonus tip. And you know, the upgrading weapon EXP, you know, how much does it cost? From 1 to 40, the most efficient way is 4S. For 1 to 50, 5S and 8A, so on and so forth. Like, even like calculations from 1 to 120, 100S plus, you know, 3B weapon EXP. So this has so much information. You know, how much does, you know, one orb give for EXP, or how much that's for skill level, right? And how much does weapon EXP even calculate? Just so much information, right? What's like the actual level for each skill, and like what's the total you need to level 20 a skill, and that's specifically for weapons, right? Class mastery, there's just so much information. HP, and then like levels. I know this is in the SINoALICE database, but this is all compiled under one Google Sheet document for you to just look at, and this is like just awesome. Like, I'm just pretty much shamelessly plugging this Google Sheets, but it's just something that I use fairly regularly, and I wanted to share this because I feel like, you know, the community needs more information, and this is one of the things that we need to grow as a community, right? Here's the Coliseum damage formula. Here's the recovery formula that Tachi covered. I'm pretty sure the buff/debuff formula is going to go here, that Tachi will cover as well. And then the buff/debuff modifier chart that's actually been translated, and is sort of similar to the one that I'm Not a Sheep Man, I think, posted on Twitter. But here it is in a more legible format. Even shows you like what's pretty much the most important things to note. There's even like Coliseum skills and how they work, TLDR on like everything. You know, this is where the enemy party is right here. Like, just so many things. He even did a works cited for you to go into other sites. Some of these other sites, there's like a nightmare planner here, so you can like plan your nightmares. Like, there's just so much good stuff on this Google Sheets document, and I feel like it's a fantastic reference for the entire community. So go ahead and check it out. It'll be in the description below. Thank you so much to Mimidae. He's actually creating a weapon tier list. So if you guys want to see that, we can go over it. But just know that tier list is based off of Coliseum, and it is based off of PvP, and is mainly based off of Colo aid skills. So, and just like I said, like, there's not really a tier list. It's more of like, at best, it's like a weapon tier list, and it's just something that you can use for reference to understand what is the best weapon to pick. But if you want me to cover that in a future video, you know, let me know in the comments below. As far as the rest of the video goes, let's go into this menu, Metal Exchange, and in Metal Exchange you're going to do Metal Desires. Now, one of the common questions that does get asked is, if you hit pity, what is the thing that I should buy? Should I buy an Arcana? Should I get a job? Should I get the weapon? Or should I get the nightmare? You know what I mean? The nightmares. Now, in my humble opinion, this is my opinion, right? Just note that the jobs that we have in the Metals of Desire, they provide 400 stats. So plus 100 here, plus 100 here, plus 100 here, and plus 100 here. If you level 12 it, it will give you an extra 400 stats so on and so forth, and that can only be acquired via the Arcana. So if I got Cinderella's Arcana, we get a bonus 400 stats. So that's how it works, right? 400 for the actual job, and then 400 for the Arcana, depending on how the rarity is. And in the future, obviously the stat stick will fluctuate, right? The stat stick will fluctuate as time moves on and on and on. So the biggest things that I wanted to know is that these jobs and Arcanas give 400 stats, and knowing that, it is difficult for me to recommend them to a player who is new, right? If you're pulling, you have Metal Desires, and you're a new player, or you're a player who's like in the 50-60k range, I don't think you should be getting a job or Arcana, because your problem relies more on what is it that I need to invest in so I can get higher points. And the thing that I'm going to recommend is going to be a Nightmare, right? Specifically the Gluttonous Heiress, because she's kind of good everywhere. If you already have her, then you can get other like Nightmares. I would, coordinate with your guild which one's the best for what. Other than Gluttonous Heiress, you can also get Noin, or you can wait for the next set of Nightmares that's probably going to be releasing with the Pinocchio banner, right? You can wait for that one too. But Noin is pretty decent of herself, because this Hindering Whale for Calo is actually really good. It lowers like the proc chance for Calo aid skills, which is really good. Like, it's fantastic, so Dauntless Courage won't trigger as much, which will mean the enemy team will do less damage. So now that you know I recommend Nightmares, why not weapons? Weapons don't have like the longevity of a Nightmare, and the reason why I say that, like for example, this weapon has a fantastic skill, but most of the Coliseum support skills are kind of bad on all of the weapons, except for like one in particular that I really like, and that's going to be the Deep Sea Bow, which is actually good if I can find it. It's probably down here. There it is, I saw it. There is a Deep Sea Bow. This thing has DC 2 on it, and it has a tier 4 skill. This is a fantastic weapon that I think you should pick up if you direly need it. But at the same time, notice it only has 3,318 at greatest total points, maxed out at SR. Digitalis has 3,782, and you're wondering, where am I going to get the Nightmare EXP to do this? You can either, there's Coliseum, or you can do other things like do Conquest, or do other things that essentially get you Nightmares to get the weapon or the Nightmare EXP to level them. It's just that I can't recommend weapons because their shelf life is so short, except for items like, the Deep Sea Bow, where it has Dauntless Courage 2 and has a tier 4 skill. That's a very, very rare thing to have on a weapon right now. So that's technically a quote-unquote high-tiered weapon in my opinion. Now, when I say like the weapon is good, please take it by a grain of salt, because weapons will all be power crept, right? Arcanas and jobs will never be power crept. Nightmares will be power crept. That's why Nightmares and Arcanas and jobs will always be recommended. So if you look here, like a level 31 Nightmare provides 2100 stats, right? And then at level 50, it provides more stats at 3,382. And that's why I suggest picking up a Nightmare, because these are harder to acquire, the drop rates for them are very low, and a paid Nightmare will always, or a gacha Nightmare will always be better than a Nightmare such as this, right? It'll always be better than the Conquest Nightmares. Like, that's just how they have it written. So the biggest thing that I want to know is that weapons don't go that far, and they will get power crept. Nightmares take longer to get power crept, and that's why I recommend them, right? You will just get more bang for your buck if you can get them to like level 20 or level 40, and they provide a 2,000 point stat boost, which is technically higher than an Arcana and a job. And I know there is an argument to be made, but I'm worried that a lot of the player base is not confident, and they're not playing the game as much because they're not seeing results on their account. And a Nightmare will give you results, a weapon will give you the fastest results, right? And when I say results, people need to feel like they can progress in content, and just suggesting Arcanas and jobs will not allow people to properly progress in content. The best way to progress in content right now is going to Gorilla and getting weapon EXP and leveling weapons. That is by far the best way to increase your account is just by going into Gorillas and getting, you know, a bunch of weapon EXP, what have you, and just going crazy and upgrading weapons, right? Like getting these specifically, and then just upgrading weapons to max level. That's the best way to increase power. Now, for my bonus tip, let's go into battle, and then let's go into see details. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go into battle log, and we're going to go to self, we're going to go number 2, and we're going to look for specifically my icicle of leeching on my virtuous contract. My virtuous contract, there you are. Icicle of leeching, virtuous contact, level 9, proc dauntless courage 1, 8,152 damage. Now the thing that I want us to take note of is that this is a level 9 skill. Let's compare this to another SR weapon that I have. So the other weapon that I had was the Snowflake Spear's Torrent of Exorcism at level 5, and notice that it also triggered Dauntless Courage on this one as well, but it only dealt 4,367 damage, right? And this was at page 3. Now, the biggest thing that I want us to know is that that was 4,367 damage, and that was on a level 5 skill, and I'll show the weapons after as well. But there's another weapon here, my Gluttonous Scythe. Here at level 4, it did 4,569 damage. It didn't trigger Dauntless Courage, but I want us to take a look. It's a level 4 skill. So if we go into my gear, and you go into edit, which this is my main class, so this is the class that I'm using during Colo. Look at the stats on the weapon, look at the skills, right? Look at the stats on my Snowflake Spear, but it's level 5 for Colo specifically, right? So just because this is higher, it doesn't apply during Colo. So, and now look at my Virtuous Contract. My Virtuous Contract is at level 9, and I know Dauntless Courage, it triggered both on my spear and on my weapon, but this weapon specifically had a higher skill, and the reason why I invested in this one because it has Dauntless Courage in it, and that's why it hit more damage. And you're wondering, how do you level up skills? What's the best way to level up skills? The best way to level up skills specifically is getting these gems, in particular the Colosseum skill gems, these ones, the Colosseum skill gems A's and S's. The only way to get these are via the actual events. They can only be attained via events, so make sure you farm these and get these, and this will increase your overall damage in Colosseum. So make sure you get these to increase your damage in Colosseum, in story, pretty much everywhere, and you will hit way harder than everyone else who's not properly investing into these. And for now, I only suggest using them on SR weapons or L weapons, like naturally, just because they will stay in your grid longer. This is one where you have to be very picky because you don't want to slam Colosseum gems into, you know, a bunch of weapons when you're not going to keep them, right? Ideally slam them into SRs, and these are the weapons that you plan on keeping. Anyways, that's it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. There will be a giveaway. So that's the way to enter. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.